podcast, Beyond the Deal. Thank you so much for joining me. And for our listeners and viewers out there, I'd like to make a brief introduction of Stephen Orvis. He is the currently software developer, software executive, but also a business owner. And Stephen and I met recently at a networking event, and it was very interesting because what I would say Stephen's title is a serial entrepreneur. Not sure if you agree with that, but you've had, a history of being a W-2 employee, if you will, and then a farm owner now, and also getting pretty close to closing on another business. So I thought that it would be interesting to have a conversation with you about entrepreneurship and business ownership and the lessons that you've learned over your business time here. So anything you want to add to that I maybe got a little bit wrong or you wanted to add?
I think you covered it pretty well. And thank you for having me on, Jill, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first question is, I think it would be great to hear about your journey. So some of the conversations that we've had previously, just your perspective and how you came to be a farm owner and some of your journey on entrepreneurship was really, really interesting to me. And I think the listeners will find interesting as well.
Sure. So my journey starts with a tech conference where I didn't attend that presentation, but later I was looking at the slides. One of them was about FIRE, so interesting acronym. So I went and looked it up and read the presentation, and I learned about the financial independence, retire early movement. Started reading blogs about that. Okay. That got me a bit deeper into investing, but then still on the stock market side. I kind of grew up in a family where businesses weren't as much of a thing. We, like most of the family, just have jobs.
Right.
And so it was a different mindset for me.
Okay.
But then moving on from that, my wife and I got married about 7 years ago. And then, So she's more business minded. Her father has a business doing HVAC, and she always wanted to have her own farm. So we started buying animals and just doing it. And that's been a learning process there for us. Just the making something is easy, but selling something is hard is what we've over the years discovered. And but investing wise, at the same time, we're investing in that FIRE concept, not because I want to be lazy, it's because I want to have time to go do other things, is what it boils down to. Because I do have a mind that likes to figure things out.
Right.
And so I got into the stock market doing the heavy investing that way. And then my wife and I started learning about real estate. We found the Bigger Pockets podcast, listening to Brandon Turner. And then we eventually did buy some real estate, a multi-unit. And we did that. And then we started learning more about business acquisitions. We stopped along the way and learned some about building businesses. One of the books I read, I always get the author name wrong, but it's like Millionaire, like one year to a million. It's Morgan Ryan Daniel. I probably mixed the title, but that business was interesting. Just the building out a business, the process in a year. But we actually went with the idea of purchasing an already existing business because you don't have the ramp up build time. So then that's how we've come to where we're at now, doing an acquisition of a business, and then it will hopefully be a full replacement of my job, and then also building equity growth to massively more than we're being paid because the debt is there and you're paying it off. So it's kind of like the real estate where it's not really making a whole lot now that you've got it fixed up and everything, but it's building equity. And so the same way the business will be building massive equity for us, and plus the control over the time. But yeah, and the farm has been going along on the side. We've been reading books and learning and growing as we go. So I think it's just been a journey, learning and learning how to think more like a business instead of just kind of doing things out of a hobby perspective, not actually applying a business context to it.
Right. Do you have employees within the farm?
We've just done contractors as of now. We've had some help, and that's been one of the things we've been able to do to scale out some. At first, I started just doing everything myself, which there's a lot of work there to be done, and it would be tough to grow to a certain point just doing it all yourself. And so we did work on abstracting out some of the more easier tasks to some contractors. But we still need to build that farm out to support an actual employee. But that would be a long term goal to have that where we could maybe do some interns. We follow Joe Salatin with Polyface Farms, and that's one of the things he's done good at is getting a program with interns, and he's just got a constant flow of people. He's training them, he's providing a service to them, and paying them, but also too he's got the labor for his farm to
Yeah.
continue to run it as well.
So if people are interested, it is grass-fed farm-raised beef, right?
Yes, yeah.
And then how would they find you?
So we have a website for the farm. It's firmfoundationfarm.com.
Okay.
And we do some local farmers market as well here in Petrolia is one. We're looking to expand out more, but primarily we've been doing the beef, and technically it's the grass fed is a government regulated label. So the
Okay.
technical recommended term that Joe Salatin has is salad bar beef, which he coined and isn't a government controlled. The net effect is the same. It's they're eating
Okay.
grass, what they're supposed to be eating, not just a bunch of grain to pop them up fast.
Right, right. Gotcha. And so would you consider yourself, as I had coined you, a serial entrepreneur now? Or what would you kind of chuckled when I said that? What would you say to that?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. My background is technology, and I always am
Right.
looking to build things and make things better. But
Mhm.
one of the books I read recently, Millionaire Fast Lane, one of his points he made was business isn't really about making money. Business is about serving and
Mhm.
solving problems. And it's interesting that actually fits with a lot of the things that I try to do. I'm always like trying to solve some problem or make life better to people, and
Right.
so I think that fits the theme. And then with the farm, the businesses, we are constantly just trying to figure out what we could do different or improve it and make it better. So I think it's a fair statement.
Yeah, yeah. So you've set me up nicely for my next kind of question, and that is, and you didn't even know the questions were really coming, but what has the farm really taught you on this journey?
Yeah, that's a good one. So when we first started, and like my wife and I got married, we moved in together in the farm and started buying animals. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't plan well at all, so we didn't really have like a what are we gonna do with it when we're done? It's like, oh, we just sell it. And it's like you have something, obviously someone would buy it, right? And that's not true though. It's
Right.
good to have your customer. And one of the books I've read that's really changed my mindset on this is Million Dollar Weekend,
Okay.
and he's like, you know, go sell your thing, then make it. He's like, it's easier to make it than to sell something. And so there's
Right.
ways to do it, like with cattle, we could pre-sell next year. Hey, you can get your quarter or half, whatever, of your beef
Yeah.
next year. Put this down payment down, and then we can produce it. Because
Hmm.
if we have the cash there from a down payment, we could go buy a feeder calf and then graze it out next year. So it's a quite doable business model. So
Okay.
that's one thing. And just the math, that was a little lacking for both of us. Just
Okay.
planning it out, are you actually going to make money at the end? And then you got to make decisions. We unfortunately kept some hogs for a lot longer than we should have. Their heritage breed.
Mm.
Ideally, we'd be selling them to homesteader people, but I only ever found a few of those customers.
Mm.
And so back to the pre-sale, if I had pre-sold, I could have done better on that one, and maybe found if there is a market, isn't a market. But I wasn't listening to what the market needed. Instead, I was just hoping the market needed it. If that
Oh,
makes
okay.
sense.
Yep. Do you have a mentor on the farm side that helped or could help with the math of it, if you will, the business side of cattle raising and the farm as a business?
My wife has, and I'm not sure what the last name is, but there is a business coach that she has been using the past year or so ish. But
Mm-hmm.
she's been more focused on the marketing and selling. I think the math side is where I have, it's like getting into real estate. That's more like math heavy, right? Like you're doing an
Yeah.
analysis. You buy the building, then debt servicing, then
Mm.
your 50% expenses, and you're trying to account for all those pieces of the puzzle. Because end of the day, you need the building when you buy it to make money.
Yeah.
That's how you determine what a good deal is and a good price. And so I think I've taken a lot of that and applied it over to the farm, and then looking at the full system opposed to being just like, oh, this surely works. So you're making something, so it's got to have more value. But that's not always true. And so I think that's an area that I've brought over to the farm and applying that here.
Okay. Okay. So as you were looking for your next business, and I understand you're kind of in the last final phases, so we're not really mentioning that one right now. But as you were looking for your next business, and I think you from our conversation, you had one that you were almost procured, but then something fell through, right? And that was okay. Then you went and looked for another one. With that, what are kind of the three top attributes that you were looking for? Because from my understanding, those two businesses that you looked at, very different, right? Very different industry wise, customer base wise. But what were those top three attributes that you were looking for that really interested you?
Yeah. So the a primary one, and I don't know, maybe it's contrary to the need versus money, but like in real estate, you're looking for a deal that can pay for itself. So I wanted a business that could pay for itself, and part of
Okay.
a real
Okay.
business that can pay for itself is that it actually can afford to pay the owner and it can afford the
Mm,
debt servicing, and it all works out at the end. So
yeah.
that was one attribute there. And then looking for a business that had people in place that could do the work. I didn't want a business that's just me, unless it was an
Okay.
internet business. I could do an internet business that was just me, and that fits well with my technology background. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
some flexibility there. And then the other one is probably a big one. And this is one thing I got from, I joined the group with Cody Sanchez, the Contrarian Thinking. And one of the things they talk about is the longevity of a business often is a predictor statistically of will it fail. So and I forget the stats, but like the first 5 years for a business, like it's kind of high that it's going to fail. And then so many years
Yeah.
out, like each year you add statistically, it's not going to fail. And so I was 5 years or more for a business in lifespan, and if it didn't fit that, I just passed over and went on. So that let me go faster through deals and hopefully weed out some that maybe weren't as good or stable. So the business I've got now is going to be like 34 years old, which is that's a nice stability. It's like it's been there, it's got customers, it's got people that know about it for quite a long time.
Yeah, and so the couple of businesses that you looked at, they had good cash revenue sales side. Still kind of trying to determine, is it just ongoing repetitive business or is there new business being added? But that you'll kind of dig into. And then that business owner is still going to be there and around, and the business model supports that person being around for a certain amount of time through the transition for you too, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is part
Yeah.
of it, is getting that transition from the owner and not being just thrown into it. Which that's
Yeah.
one of the things I'm really happy about the deal that I'm in now. The owner is uh, he seems like a really nice person. His customers seem to like him, and he seems to have a good relationship with his people. And then I see how he's interested in looking forward to like working with the transition and not just okay, I get paid and I'm going to go on
Yeah,
vacation.
like I'm
I'm
out.
done.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't want that. I wanted that transition to, and someone that cares about their legacy too. It's like he's this is his business. He's been there, and he does care about the name he's built, and he wants that name to carry onwards with it.
Yeah. So in this situation, did you know them beforehand? How were you introduced to these couple of businesses? Was it a business broker or?
Both of them were brokers online, which after reading some more books and things, it often isn't the way people find businesses. I
Okay.
definitely was looking for off market too, but I just happened to find both of them through a broker.
Mm,
And this latest broker that I've been working with, I've really liked him. And it was good kind of having a bad deal to compare with a good deal, and then just seeing everyone involved, their connections, and their the people that they surround themselves with. It's something I hadn't really thought too much about before, but there's definitely a vein of people that are connected with each other, and each person in this deal, as I've worked with this broker, the people he's connected with that he recommends have been good quality people. But yeah, I
nice.
found the deal through the broker, and it was just a listing he had online, but it fit the criteria we had at that point in time that we had written down and trying to hone in what we were looking for. And so we reached out, and uh, for once we were the one that were pushing to go faster versus the broker trying to get us to move faster. So it's worked
Yeah.
out good. It's having the experience, having done it once before, has been good from that angle.
Yeah. So, you had that first deal that kind of went astray. What are the things now that you've gone through the second deal as well that you think you've learned the most that, other people could be aware of?
Yeah, I think one of the big things, and I kind of touched on it with the broker is, I think, a quality person, and the people he's surrounded himself with is too, is like
Mhm.
liking seller. Like, do you trust him? And I read recently Buy Them Build by Walker Dybel, and he was like, uh, you don't want to be in a deal where you both mistrust each other. You should be both working together towards closing the deal. And
Mhm.
I think that's important. Like, if you don't trust the other guy, that's
Yeah.
probably for good reason, and probably you're just going to find more stuff as you go along. So that's one big thing, is just the trusting and liking the seller and the seller's agent, and being able to be working together on a deal instead
Yeah.
of at each other and trying to, like, well, who's going to take advantage of the other person, because that just sets a whole another tone to it, and you're always looking at your back, everything they do or anything. You're like, wait a second, like, is there
Yeah.
something behind this? So that was a big one there. I'd say that's the largest one. It connects with everything else. Like, are they honest on how they run their business? Are they, you know, doing something maybe they shouldn't with taxes, or are
On
they,
the
uh,
business that you're buying side, right? On the acquisition side.
when you buy, it's like,
Mhm.
is it an
Mhm.
honest business? How do they
Mhm.
treat their customers? What do their trust customers say? And so, just seeing is there integrity there. One of the things I loved about this business now is the owner. Somehow the foreman had heard something, and he asked the owner about it, and the owner did not lie to him. He
Okay.
was like, "Yes, we are selling the business," and he explained it to him, and I really like that, because he could have lied to him,
Mhm.
and a lot of people would have,
Yeah,
but he
I've
did
had
not
that
lie to him. So I
experience,
was,
definitely, yeah.
yeah, I was really impressed with that, and I like that. Like, that's what I want. I want that integrity
Yeah,
and
because
that being
it comes to bite you later, right? If you've been told, I've had that experience personally where I've been told, no, we're committed, we're into this company, and then literally 2 or 3 months later, there's an announcement that oh, we're being acquired. And you're sitting there as the employee or a leader of the organization going, wait a minute, what just happened? How am I supposed to trust what's going on, type of thing? And I understand there's confidentiality and whatnot, but to your point, that trust was a big piece of the puzzle for you. So being 30, 40 years owning the business, many times the business owners will look themselves for family or other things. In this business, did it just not work out for the owner in that way?
my understanding. His children weren't interested.
Okay.
I think they have careers of their own already, and
Okay.
so it might be just he ran the business past whatever age when he transitioned, or maybe there just wasn't interest in the business there. Um,
Yeah.
so it is an interesting one, because it makes more sense to keep it in, or even, I think we talked about the other day about the ESOP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ESOP, the
Option.
employee
Yep.
buyout. It's like a little small for that. But so I guess it's in my sweet spot where it's just the right price range for me, but then still too small to turn into an employee owned business from that direction.
Yeah. So, any recommendations for what I will call W-2, employees that maybe have, maybe a little bit of a savings and they're looking to possibly get out of that W-2 grind? What would you recommend to them?
So someone like that probably has gotten into investing on that side, but still the investing is good. At this point in time, I see there are two different paths. You can do the buy business, and instantly you buy the business, and you will instantly be profitable if you buy the right business
Right,
and you can
right.
set your criteria.
Mm-hmm.
The flip side is finding the perfect business will still take time. Building a business also takes time.
Yeah.
So I'm not actually convinced, because I started this
You've
business plan like
done
two
the
years ago.
building of the farm, right? And then now
Mhm.
you're going into the business that's already there.
Yeah, I think I do like the buying a business from the perspective of, you have a working system that works, and there's cons to everything, and that's where your criteria that you're picking of what business you want,
Right.
you can tune the cons and pros to be what fits you well as a person, and it's just a matter of diligence in searching for that length of time. Um, but I do like the acquisition of businesses, and I do like um, there's a bit of a concept too of, we can let big companies buy up our local businesses or just let them go out of business, and
Mm,
Walmart's everywhere, or you can try to own some businesses that are local and give more community control over local businesses. So I do like that concept of it as well.
yeah,
But as pure investing, if someone has a W-2 they want out, if they're not quite ready to go and they jump, I do like real estate too. Real estate is a great place to dump money and have it grow over time, but it's a long-term play.
right.
The Brandon Turner, he's, oh, buy a house now and then 6 months buy another, and you can if you're working really hard and doing the deals. It is a legit business, but it's also, you need to make your equity growth. You either need to get an amazing deal or you put in the sweat equity. Which I have a friend, he's able to quit his W-2 or go part-time with it anyways. But he works every evening. He's out there rehabbing his houses he's buying. He's got a
Yeah,
partner now that he's in with. He's working really hard and he's
right.
building amazing equity. But it's just another path, and it's really another business that he's been building.
Right, right. It's definitely, in my opinion, not for the people who just want to sit back and
Hmm.
have a leisurely life or do the things that they like to do personally, right? It is definitely a path in which you are still working really hard. You're just working for yourself versus for a company and a different business owner, if you will. So, in that, it sounds like, you've read a lot of books, invested in yourself to really try to be, have insight, if you will, when it comes to whether it's investing or entrepreneurship or leadership or buying companies. What are there, and I see, different events or 2-day training sessions where it's like, buy this real estate, and you see the little hype kind of conventions, if you will. Are there any that you've gone to that you really got a lot out of that you would recommend to um, uh, you know potential entrepreneurs or potential people that are looking to make that leap?
On the real estate side, I have gone to the Acre here in Pittsburgh
Mm-hmm.
a few times. Uh, they're good. I feel like it's a little hit and miss, but it definitely has people there. You've got a good mass number of people,
Okay.
and I've met people. I actually met someone who lives in the same town as me,
Mm.
and it's down there, and we're talking like, wait a second.
That's
So it's a great
Pittsburgh,
place.
right?
Yes, it's like, oh, okay, you know where Shakur is. You live there too. So I've met some good connections there, and there's been some interesting topics.
Hmm.
I think the most valuable meetup in real estate that I've done is Bigger Pockets encourages people to create their own local groups, and they're not formalized. Where like Acre is like kind of a make money organization, whereas the Bigger Pockets groups, at least the one that we have locally,
Okay.
just a couple guys started it, advertised it on the forum on Bigger Pockets, and now we've got 5, 8 people that attend monthly to the meetings, typically
Nice.
some range of that, and it's a great. Just like what are other people doing? What have you learned? And it's localized too, because the rule changes in Butler are going to be different than other areas of the state
Hmm.
or country for that matter. And so it's been great having local people. So that's I've probably got my most value out of.
Okay.
And then that's also I've gotten into private note investing with one of the people there. So it's opened up opportunities to me by attending that.
And then on
I
the
did.
business side, obviously you said, you had found the online business broker. Didn't know if that was necessarily what you would do again, but if you're 5 years and the business that you're closing on now is going well, and what I mean, are you then looking for another business to invest in? What would you recommend that people need to do before they go in that direction?
That is part of the possible strategy we could go as a way to expand. Would buy a business that the synergy thing that
Mm-hmm.
people love the word, the two somehow become a greater value because you've got the perfect right match.
Right.
At this
Right.
point in time, I don't think I know what that perfect match looks like, but that's going to be something I'll be looking for. Is, well, what is that perfect match? And then it's an interesting concept I've been learning the past few years that when you hone in really close on exactly what you want, then you can find it. Whereas if you don't know what you want, you're either going to find the wrong thing or you're just not going to find anything.
Right. Right.
So I need to figure that out. And I think that is a good path. the other path and the real estate just always is there as a great place to put money. If I have money to invest, I can go real estate too, and I've built the connections up for that and have opportunities from that perspective as well. There's kind of two paths. The real estate's just the slower path. Is less of the instant value. Is if you buy a business and then you can add value by combining it with your business, you've instantly increased the value right away. Like it's like a magic. Well, it's like buying a real estate property and then raising rents. You magically made the value worth more by just raising rents.
Right.
So it's like time action.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that them merging with another one is a possibility there. I'm also exploring online business expansion with there too, because they're all
Okay.
like word of mouth customers now,
Right. Right.
and that's where I was going to ask you some perspectives on you, because the book I was just reading, the Millionaire Fast Lane book, he's talking about the need versus like just looking for the money.
Right.
And so it seems like there's market saturation everywhere if you just go search online, or if there isn't, well, maybe no one wants it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be curious what you would think. Like, how would you search online and figure out what needs are online that could be filled, uh, versus just trying to jump into someplace and hope it works?
Yeah. Sometimes, in that particular case, potentially doing some market research in a particular, obviously I have an idea of the industry that you're talking about. In particular industries, you can do some market research as far as either being a secret buyer or, getting information from current clients, current customers, as far as what their future needs are, or those kind of things, that you can do those market research and gather that information rather inexpensively, right? Whether it be current clients, whether it be prospects that you lost, and
Ah,
having somebody follow up with them, and outside, like I've done that before, where I've followed up with lost prospects to get a perspective of truly what happened, why was it lost, what was the need, to answer that question. um, Online surveys I have found can be very hit or miss, and for a couple reasons. One being, the incentive, even for $100 gift card to Amazon, nobody wants to click on a link from somebody that they don't know. They shouldn't be
we're,
anyway,
we're
right?
trained that you should not do this, and then
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
exactly. And then the other thing that I've more experienced when those surveys are put together is the questions aren't right. The questions aren't really asking the right information. And so when people answer them, they're like, well, I guess, I don't know, I'm going to put, that kind of thing. So you don't really get the right information. More doing that interview, kind of getting somebody on the phone for 15, 20 minutes can be much, much more valuable to learn information, to understand, future needs or a need, or where you're missing the mark, if you will,
Hmm.
in that way.
I'd be curious. So I like what you're saying with the talking to customers that didn't choose to buy,
Yeah.
because they obviously have that information. They had a reason. And I'm thinking in the context of the farm, sometimes we have customers that don't choose or they back out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure how do you approach that conversation and not make it awkward, because they kind of, I don't want to be like, oh, you slighted me. I want to be like
Right.
genuinely know, like, where did I fail? Like, what can I do better? But how do you frame that so that they understand that that's what you're trying to achieve, not just,
Yeah,
you know,
that's where typically having someone, not you, right? Not the person they were procuring from, or the salesperson, if you will, call on behalf of. I'm trying to learn to, so that they can be better, and et cetera, right? The way you phrase it. I usually get, when I've done those kind of studies, 90, 95% callback, right? Because it's not that salesperson, it's not that business owner, it's somebody from the outside really just trying to genuinely try to understand, to help that business be better. I really get a sense of the majority of people want to help that first person. They want to be heard, and they want to help that business to be better, but they won't necessarily be that open, honest feedback to that person themselves. Most people won't because they want to be nice, right?
Yeah,
Or if you have a
exactly.
second
Yeah.
party do it for you, then you can get some really good, actionable information to kind of make that business better, whether it be pricing, whether it be customer service, response time. I mean, there's all sorts of different categories to consider.
Yeah, that's interesting. That makes sense because my dad told me a story yesterday about a contractor. He went out of business here just the other day. We were talking about him, and my dad was once, I guess he had a reputation for not being nice to deal with.
Mm,
And he said once, a quote my dad had been involved with got quotes from other companies for it. And the guy then called my dad and was like, "Why didn't you have me do a quote?" And the truthful answer was, "Because you're not nice to deal with,
yeah,
and this is why
this,
you're calling me to complain about
yeah,
it."
to yell at me, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much, Stephen, for being a part of the podcast. I've learned a lot. I hope that the listeners have gotten a really good perspective on your journey and potentially how their journey could change, or whether it be sons, daughters, or hey, I'm ready to make that leap. I wish you the best of luck in your new business, and I hope everything goes well there. I know everything will go well there.
All right. Well, thank you, Jill. It was good chatting with you. Enjoyed it.
All right.